Welcome everybody, welcome to Kendo Tips. My name is Jose and I am a Golden Kendo. Today the plan is that we're going to talk about basics in Kendo at a high level. So how to improve our Kendo through basics and how to do them correctly without holding back. So welcome to the stream. I hope you guys are having a good weekend and you got some good practices this week. Let me know how your practices went and let me know how you're doing today. Just by hitting the like button, you can let me know that you're here as well. And if you would like to let me know that you're passing by, just write me a comment on the chat box and I can say hello back to you. Anyways, I saw that there was a tournament that Let's Kendo streamed last night, and I believe there's another one that's supposed to be happening or it will happen tonight. I'm not sure, but I didn't get to do a stream for that. What I'm going to do, I think there's a tournament on the 29th, I believe. I don't remember. I need to look at the date. And that one, I was thinking doing a public stream where you guys can join me in the Discord server. And there we can talk about Kendo. We can watch the stream together and just give our opinions about the matches. And we did that when we did the European Championship. It was fun. So I kind of been wanting to do that again. I just haven't found a tournament to do that. You said once a week on Sundays. You change jobs and workout schedules, all messed up. Oh, okay, I get it. So what are you doing? Are you doing anything during the week, like to supplement your lack of practice? Any private practice that you're doing on your own? Maybe getting together with a friend. During the pandemic, I had like a little space that it was a vinyl floor. It wasn't wood, but at least I could do a little bit of footwork. I could do suburi on my own. So I never had anybody in there, but I guess you could have done like kirikaeshi. I could have done kirikaeshi there too. I was always scared about the neighbors, because they'll probably be complaining, but I never gotta complain. Anyways, yeah, so that's the plan. And another thing, I will having a guest on the 17th. A friend of mine who does Jordan is going to pass by to share his pointers on Jordan, and I haven't set up a date yet, but I'm also going to have another stream with a Nito player. So please stay tuned for that. If you haven't, make sure you're subscribed with your notifications on. And when that comes up, I'll most likely the first thing I will do, I'll post it on the Discord server. Let me see if my bot is working today and it will give me the Discord server. But if not, you can go down to the comments below and there is a link to the Discord server. You can join it there and then you can, we can talk. If you have any questions, you can let me know. And if you want to join one of my streams where I do live, like for live tournaments that we discuss Kendo, you can pass by and join up there so we can talk about it as I stream. Anyways, so last week I started this video from Takanabe and I want to kind of finish it off. I want to go over some of the basics on how he does it, him and his partner do the basics at a higher level, right? And I like this type of videos. I believe that every time that there's like a, All Japan winner, at least before the pandemic, they used to do kind of like a educational video from them. And this is the one from Takanabe. I believe this is when this came out. And I hope we can learn some things onto how to put this into our own Kendo. Okay, so you're doing to kind of offset your lack of practice because of your scale. You're doing warm-ups with suburi, joge, shomen, sajomen, naname, and squatting, which I'm guessing it'll be like the matabari, right? Right, matabari. I think that's how it's pronounced. And 20 high suburi. You do your regular workout, run, lift, etc. So what's your focus when you lift? I've been doing that I think almost for the past year and trying to see. I have a friend that kind of guided me through it, and I'm trying to get him to be in the stream as well, by the way, because he does Kendo. So yeah, I just wonder. I think everybody will be interested to know different people's focus when they're at the gym. Anyways, without further ado, let me see where's the video. Okay, it's right here. And you guys should be able to see my mouse. Okay, there you go. So here they were doing kotemen, I believe. And the volume is super low. Ah, that 80s music, the 80s metal synth. Okay. I remember I watched this video a few years ago, and one of the things that I that caught my attention was this type of approaches of trying to put pressure and control the shiai. I think it's a very important tool to have, but also something that's very misinterpreted, because sometimes people, when they try to do this, for example, let's say that this is your shiai and this is your opponent's shiai. Like if people are trying to suppress the sword, sometimes they like get overly excited or they go too hard and they push down too much. So in essence, losing the center themselves. So it kind of becomes a battle of speed of who can recatch the center again. So one of the things that I'm going to point out from this is look at how subtle the motion is. You're not looking to completely remove the shiai out of the equation. You want to find the most efficient point where you can have an opening without your opponent being able to come back to the center as you strike your technique. This is your goal. So a lot of times you see people kind of, they knock the shiai out to the side, down, or they even do like a very exaggerated knock up to try to do maybe like a suriage or harai. Harai, I guess, will be the proper one in this case. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you take the shiai out of the way enough for you to come in, rather than just knocking and like overpowering with your own shiai and having the risk of losing the center and then making it a competition between you and your opponent on who can get back into center again, right? So watch. I don't know, like in this angle, I think it's perfect to see it. Very subtle, right? You'll see. So first, we start with good communication between the shinais and a safe, quote unquote, safe distance, because maybe a lot of people will not be able to attack from here, but there are, got a little bit of hiccup there. There are some players that can leap from here, no problem, right? So this gives you enough time. I say safe because it should give you enough time to see the opponent and deflect their technique or counter their technique if you see them coming from this distance. So always trying to find the point of pressure. Now, first he starts having his momentum coming in and keeping the center, and then cutting into the shiai slightly. This gives him enough space for him to break the center, to make an opening as he's moving. The other big point with this, if you want to take the center, is that you want to make sure that you're in motion as you start this. So, check this out. Okay, so you saw that he started leaning in, pushing in to close the distance, and as he's in motion is when his shiai is cutting into the center. It's not like he's cutting in and then going. He's cutting into the center as he goes in order to take the technique right away. I want to copy this follow through, by the way. So relaxed, so powerful, but so relaxed, right? And this is something that I noticed lately on my practice, right? That sometimes when I hit the man, I don't know what is it. Maybe I kind of like pull back my hands. I need to maybe record myself doing this, but I open up my elbows. My elbows end up. Let me just change the camera real quick. Very subtle, right? Like when I hit the man, instead of keeping my hands here to go through, I kind of just open up a little, slightly, just ever so slightly my elbows, and this makes my hand to like my shoulders tense up, and my hands to kind of pull back a little bit, which is not good. You want to keep this angle as you go through, as you do your technique, so that way you can do, if you need more techniques, right? So I noticed it mostly only when I'm going through. So after maybe something that I'm doing after I do the hit, but I need to do more self-assessment on that. Further research is needed. So you see, you can see the cut right here on this angle, on this slow motion right here. You can see how as he approaches, you see he cuts into the sore and keeps the pressure, keeps the communication, keeps reading the opponent through his sore to then go in for the man. So I think this is the point where we ended up switching from last stream, or where I ended up cutting it out from my last stream. And it's a little bit of, now they're starting to implement a little bit right-left motion. One thing that I want to point out from this is how, as he moves left to right and then decides to come in forward, there's not a sudden stop. Many times when you see this happening, people kind of move left, right, left, right, left, right. They stop and then they go forward. You shouldn't do that. You should be trying to figure out a fluid way to go from one side, then immediately engaging the leg. And the way he does it, again, is the left leg. Look at how, as he moves to the side, he immediately engages into the step forward to the technique. There's not hesitation, there's no pause. Very important, very important. And again, look, he does the little knock of the shiai. Let me go a little bit back. As he's coming in, he takes the shiai out of the center. Now, this is very important. I think it's very cool that they did this video like this, that they implemented one aspect of it first, which was to make the opening with your shiai, and then adding in the footwork, because it allows us to pick it up step by step rather than overwhelming ourselves with both. And I think that's the way, if you haven't done this, I think this is the way that you should practice this, because you can get overwhelmed by doing it. And I believe that one of the best results of doing this is that you are overwhelming your opponent as you do this. So you are closing the distance, you're adding motion, and now you're trying to suppress or knock the shiai out of the center. So a lot of times this gets you a favorable opening, because the opponent is, getting tangled between, should I move my shiai, should I move my body, should I attack? So like, putting the opponent into an uncomfortable situation will give you a longer opening, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but hope it does. Okay. So this is the this is the biggest one that I always kind of notice that there's a problem with the bannerman, right? One of my biggest points, I made a video about this. One of my biggest points when it comes about the bannerman is that, number one, it's shikake waza. So you shouldn't be waiting for the opponent to do the first move in order to do your technique. That doesn't mean that you have to be the first one committing to the man, okay? If you look at this, and let's look at this one just because. Let's look at this one because it's the most basic way of doing this, right? Wait. Okay, sorry. Wish I had a little bit more control over this. Okay, so when I say that you have to be the first person making the move, you cannot wait for your opponent to make the first move. I'm talking about this moment right here. If you're gonna see him, he is going to apply the pressure, making the opponent react, right? So, watch, okay? He is Let me go back a little bit. Okay, he is being in motion, right? And as he's coming in, you see he's making the commitment to go forward. He's already trying to come in to put that pressure, and is causing his opponent to come forward. As his opponent comes forward, when he notices that he is coming in, he throws the technique. Now, there's a couple things that are happening here. If you notice this, his opponent is much more extended, right? He's already throwing the technique from a little bit further away, so he has to travel more to get there. For him, he doesn't have to aim where he initially was. He already made the decision of where he had to aim, right? Let me see. The guy on the left makes a decision of where he has to aim. Based on this, he has to go here, for example, right? So he is trying to make the commitment here. Takanabe is not making the commitment here. He's trying to go where he's going to be, which I'm guessing is going to be right about here by the moment of impact. See? So his attack becomes much more effective. Now, obviously, this is a drill. The opponent is allowing him to come in. So they are working a couple of things when they does this. They're working on, number one, not interrupting the technique, so you have the person freely attack and not being bothered by the fact that, you know, they can possibly miss, because, you know, sometimes becomes chances of missing. But also, they're working on reaction, right? Trying to get the timing and the moment of where they should attack. And the distance, by the way. Now, obviously, because this is a drill, you don't get to see so much of the pressure. And maybe we should do... I think maybe there's a development when he attacks as well further. But biggest thing is that you don't want to be waiting. You don't want to be standing still at the moment when your opponent decides to come for the man. You have to you have to provoke your opponent to come for the man. Right here, they're working on going straight, not being bothered by the opponent's shiai, and reaction, distance as well. Timing, distance, all these things. I think in the next one, his opponent attacks as well. Oh no, this is another... This is another waza right here. So, in this one, hold on, let me go back a little bit. There's a couple of things that I noticed when I seen Takanabe do his kote, and it's, sorry, the way how he throws his body in. Hold on. Let me get the side shot. Which is the first one right here. So as he's closing the distance, he's keeping the communication here. He's trying to keep the hands in as much as possible. And look, when he throws his body in, he is being lifted from both feet, right? Both feet have air. This can look a little bit awkward, right? But it's how, because of the intensity that he's throwing his body into the technique. And the main thing that he's doing is that by lifting, by pushing so hard to get air, he's allowing his left foot to come in quicker, so he's ready for the next technique. So let's say that he misses that. Look what happens when the left foot lands. They pretty much left foot and right foot land almost instantaneously at the same time. And immediately, he is pushing again with the left to close the distance. Very important. Very, very important. Something that I've got to admit that even I lack on this many times. I want to make sure that you understand this. You want to use your left foot after every single step to keep the pressure going. Very nice. Guys, if you haven't, take a second to hit the like button. That way this video gets pushed out to more people. And obviously if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Really helps. Really helps. Okay. I'm trying to read the kanji. Okay. Let's break this down for a second. Look at the push, and this is the push that I was mentioning before. That many people try to overpower the shiai out of the way rather than making the specific opening. So here you see he's going to close the distance, and at the same time he's going to make that opening. You see, as he's in motion, he is moving the shiai out of the way. He's not pushing everything out. He's just moving the shiai out of the way so he can approach and take the kote, right? In this case, specifically, he's doing this to get a reaction from the opponent. In this case, for him to pull the shiai up, make the opening for the kote. This kote, let's go back a little bit, maybe here, I believe, now a little bit more. Let's see. Give it a second, okay. So, if you see this angle kote is very important. If you haven't, you probably know this, but just in case, you don't want to throw the kote straight in this way. Hold on. You don't want to throw the kote straight in towards the opponent. If the opponent has the shiai like this and you try to come straight in, you're gonna, find a lot of obstacles on the way. You have to make the motion parallel, or the strike coming parallel to the opponent's shiai, right? So it's like you're putting both of them together. Should attack parallel. If you go in straight like this, it's very, very, very high chances that you will miss it. And you want to make sure that you have the best opening possible. If you see, this is what's happening here. He's not throwing the shiai in this line of attack. He is coming slightly up and lining himself up with the opponent shiai. Maybe you can see it better in this angle, right? Hold on. So he pushes the sword out of the way, the opponent reacts, and you see he's now matching the angle. And again, the left foot pushes in to close the distance. Again, make sure that if you're trying to do this, you don't overpower yourself out of the center. You just want to make an opening big enough so that way, in this case, the opponent reacts. Good angle as well to watch it. Hold on. See, it's very subtle. And again, you try this with an opponent. Okay, hold on, You try this with an opponent in basic drills, right? You're trying to do it, but you understand that your partner is going to be opening like this. So transitioning this to Jigeko can be a little bit tricky if you get used to doing it in one timing and one speed, right? So you have to try different timings. You maybe want to ask your partner, okay, give me different timings, do the opening differently. Sometimes close the distance, sometimes make the distance further away. Just to kind of try to replicate different scenarios that you can find during Jigeko. And then during Jigeko, try it. Don't mind if you get hit, don't mind if you miss, and so on. You want to try to find that way. You want to try to find the way to make sure that you understand how to make the opening in a real situation and how to anticipate where that kote is going to be so you know which angle you gotta throw the shiai in. Very important. So keep that in mind. So a lot of times this works. If you notice, it's cool that we're getting to see all these different openings. You see these at tournaments all the time. You see how people they drop the tip. I feel like sometimes we tend to drop the tip just because we get into a habit of doing it. But you want to make sure you understand what kind of opening and what kind of opening this will get you. So many times people do this drop of the shinai. Let me use my little shinai. Many times people do this drop of the shinai, and this will cause the person to kind of lower the shinai and they go to the men. So I believe one of the benefits of practicing this way, the opening, is because if you are getting used to this and always going for the men, especially if your opponent gets used to you dropping the shinai and then you going for the men, then this can make the opening perfectly for the kote, because you're gonna go down, they're gonna get scared, cover the men, and then you can go in for the kote. So again, now we're entering into finding different approaches to practice and different drills to make more realistic scenarios. I think it's very important not to only do the scenarios, not to only do the drills and copy what you see, but try to understand or trying to give yourself a purpose of why you're doing this and why is it being done this way. Does that make sense? Is that something that, sounds valid? Sounds about right? Let me know. Okay. Let me see. Sorry, where did the video go? Okay. You see, and again, the opening is being fluid. I hate this. Definitely something that we don't practice enough, huh? So, with Tsuki, I believe that one of the biggest obstacles that we get from Tsuki, number one, it's being too tense, especially in the arms, the hands, the shoulders. And number two, the distance. Sometimes I see that people, and myself included, throw the Tsuki from very far away, where it's a little bit hard to actually, get the stability and get the precision you need to get it. So understanding the distance is key, and the best way to understand it is practicing more. So you see when he throws the Tsuki, let's see, hold on. Look at the distance where he triggers the Tsuki, right? He takes a step in and then, that was so quick. Hold on. Okay. So from here is that he's putting the pressure. Again, we talked about making the steps right to left. I think this is a very good progression of how they're doing these drills, right? Because you're gonna start seeing, you see aspects that we already saw, and then integrating them into higher techniques. So you saw a little bit of motion left and right. He goes right, then he closes in the distance fluidly, right? Now you see the shinai is coming in a little bit closer. When you see that the left foot gets anchored, that's when he goes in for the Tsuki. One very important point, it's, hold on. As he moving to the side, look, the left foot is here. He takes a very tiny step. That gives him enough to close the distance. I feel that this is one of the most overlooked things in our kendo is how big or how much a little step can give you. It's funny because at the dojo, when I try to tell somebody do a small step, they feel, and they do a smaller step that they previously did, but still a pretty long step. They end up being too close, and they feel that they just took such a little step, but still they were too deep, right? It's very important to learn how to do tiny steps and understand how much those tiny steps can give you, because that was the difference between missing and getting the tsuki in this case, right? Look at this. Look how tiny this step is. So from here, left foot is right here. Oh, you can barely see my arrow. Okay. So left foot is right here. Right foot is right here. The right foot comes in. The left foot, very little. But that made such a difference on the shinai right here. Look. Also, he's playing with the upper body, lower body, the opening of the legs, and all this stuff. Look. So now look how deep he went in with a very minute step. You know, very, very interesting. Westblade or Paul, good morning. Good morning from Memphis. Thank you for passing by and, you know, watching the stream though. I really appreciate it. If you guys can, please take a second to hit the like button. Really helps this video get pushed out to more people. And I want to remind you guys that on the 17th, I will be doing a stream with the Jordan player. So I hope you guys join me and have a good time, and we learn about Jordan as well. Okay, so you see a very tiny step. Look how much depth it gave him, right? When you know how to manage your footwork, when you know how to manage your steps and the motion of your legs, your upper body, you can gain a lot of distance with very tiny movements. It's incredible, actually. Ooh, okay. Let's watch this for a second. Slow it down. So again, look who moves first. Takanabe is gonna move first, right? Now we're getting into provoking an attack and seeing the benefits of you being the first person to move. If you would have been stopped, okay, how do I explain this? I want you guys to take a look at this point right here. Okay, so if you're gonna see Takanabe will be the one, the person on the right is gonna be the one starting the motion. If he stays like this, if he stays stopped like this, and this person decides to move, especially if you're sinking into your position, there's many motions that you can do that is not gonna be useful. You want to be with intention forward. So as he moves in, okay, you see he's the first one to move in the foot forward, get the momentum forward, then his opponent has a reaction. He feels that he needs to do something, he needs to react. In this case, the drill is to go to kote, but because he's in motion, you see, Takanabe was able to come in for the man explosively. Watch this. See, very quick, and it's very hard to get for him to get that kote at that point because he's coming with extension of the hands. It's a very difficult angle. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. William, thank you for passing by. Thank you for letting me know you enjoyed the content, and you're welcome anytime. Yeah, it's very hard to get a kote here. See, at this point, he couldn't even get around the sword. He tried coming in forward, but the main thing is that you want to provoke a reaction. You want to provoke a reaction from your opponent rather than wait there and then you being the one reacting. This is one of my favorite techniques too. I think this is very simple. This is a very simple technique to pass on to help people execute, and the reason for that is because you're very covered. I feel that even if the opponent doesn't go for kote here, it can be an easy transition to kaeshido, and it gives you many openings. I think it gives you many opportunities. The main thing again, guys, is that now that we're entering in the ojiwaza, you want to understand that you are the person making the other person react. Say person too many times. So you are the one making your opponent react rather than you reacting to your opponent. If you're gonna do a kaeshiwaza, it's not that you wait. It's not that you are waiting for the opponent to throw the technique so you can do the kaeshi, right? You want to give a little bit of pressure. Now, the main reason for this is because it does two things. Once you give the pressure, number one, you make the person desperately react. So they have to go now from zero. But if you give the pressure and you don't sink in, you don't stop the motion, but instead you put the pressure and keep the intention forward, almost like you're millimetric, like, I don't know if that's the right word, but if you're like close in the distance without moving your feet, you are in motion. So it's not like you have to let go of the brake and accelerate. You're already kind of accelerating and at the same time holding yourself back. What that does is that you're going to be in momentum. You're going to have momentum before your opponent does. And if the opponent is very fast, you're going to be able to defend yourself. You're going to be able to deflect yourself. So whether you're going forward or backwards for this technique, if you have that forward momentum, you can also trick the person into attacking at the distance where they feel you're going to be. So if you feel the opponent is very fast and you need to, deflect and go back for like the Kaishimen, for example, you want to make them feel that they have to attack at a certain distance so you can catch the sword away from you. So you should be able to. This is hard for me to express. I'm sorry. I don't want to confuse anybody on all of this. How do I say this? So as you're closing the distance, you should have the feeling that you're gonna keep going. You don't want to have the feeling. Let me go back into the full screen. Okay. As you're approaching the opponent, you want to have that feeling that you're gonna keep going even if your feet are not moving. So even if it's like this, right? Like even I'm just moving my upper body, just slightly, right? So what does this do? It makes the opponent feel that you're already coming in. Okay, so when they react, they have to react even in much desperation. So this moment is good for you because number one, you know that they're coming, so you can aim for where they're going to be. Number two, you're already moving, so if you're going forward, you have already momentum because all your muscles are engaged to go forward that way. But because your right leg is the one holding you back, I don't want to say stop you, but holding you back, kind of like if somebody's going that way and then something's holding back a little bit, but you still have that. Because you have all this muscle engagement, you're gonna be able to shoot into your opponent much faster than you would if you would be just standing there. So even if you know for certain that they're coming for men, you're in a much better position if you have this little forward momentum than if you're just stopping there. And again, because your right leg is the one holding you back, you don't have to go. You can make the decision to shift your direction as the opponent is coming. So if the opponent is very fast, he can come in and close the distance, but you can immediately go backward as well, right? So let's say that, for Kaeshi, like Kaeshi men, right? So, but you can go back as you have that forward intention. I hope that makes sense. It's a lot, and I don't want it to be taken out of context because I don't want you guys creating bad habits because of something I said. So if you have any questions, let me know. Or you can pass by the Discord too. We can talk about it. Anyways. Maverick, okay. I hope it's a great explanation because I really don't want anybody to get bad habits because of me. Anyways, thank you. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate it. So, if you see here, hold on, let me go back slightly. Okay, so again, let me go frame by frame. You see, he puts the forward momentum. He uses the right leg. Immediately, he locked the left leg in forward. The right leg is holding him back. Then when he makes the decision to do attack, he does the fumikomi forward because in this case, he didn't have to go backwards, right? And by the way, the right leg, it's also helping him change the timing because you don't have to commit to a technique at the same speed that you started it. You don't have to commit to a technique immediately. The right leg is the one that's going to help you shift the timing between when do you go and how fast you can go as well. If you look at that position of his kamae, you can see how he doesn't look like he's fully stopping. Like internally, it feels like he's gonna keep going forward. Watch. So, as you guys know, I made a video on harai, which is shikake waza. So now suriage waza, which is what we're watching right now. Hold on. So the motion for Kaeshi, he returns the cut as he deflects with the body of the shinai, right? So here, in Kaeshi, he deflected with the body of the shinai. Here, he's using more the front part of the shinai to get the opponent's shinai out of the way. So here, watch, you see, it's hard to see here on this, but ideally you want to use the tip of your shinai. Let me see. I cannot see myself, so I want to make sure that you guys can see me. Okay, you want to use the tip of your shinai to hit the middle, the body of your shinai. So to hit the body of your opponent's shinai. So before, for example, for kote kaeshi men, you're gonna use the body to deflect the tip and then going for the men. So for suriage men, if the person is going for kote, for example, you're gonna hit with the tip of your shinai, you're gonna hit the middle of your opponent's shinai and go into the men. So this is very important because it's gonna give you as well the feeling of how you need to be going forward on the distance as well. It's very important to understand this point because if you wait too long to use the body of your sword, high chances that you're gonna get hit. And this is one of the reasons why suriage, it's a little bit riskier. It's much riskier than, for example, kaeshi, kote kaeshi men, right? Because if you let it pass too far, you're high risk of getting hit. So if you try to hit too far in, also very easy for the opponent. Oh, you guys can't see my thumb there. That's supposed to be my kote. So very easy to hit the kote if the person is coming in. Okay? Christina, thank you. Thank you for becoming a member for the stream. Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. You're welcome anytime to passing by. Let me tell you something. So when you're coming in and you're trying to hit the suriage, you don't want to hit too far, or you don't want the person to come in too far as well. You want to find a sweet spot, which is going to be the middle of the shinai. So let me watch this. As you see this, okay, frame by frame, you see it's a lot of things happening here. It's a lot of things happening here. So he's coming in for the kote, and you see he pretty much made it with the middle of his shinai, middle and middle. This is okay. Still risky, but it's okay. And immediately going in forward. Now, the reason why that happens too is because his opponent is pretty fast, pretty tall, so he covers a lot of distance in very little time, right? So as you see this, another thing that is different between harai and suriage is that a lot of times you have to adjust the distance as you see your opponent closing in. So for example, here you're gonna see he puts the pressure forward, right? But he adjusts the distance with the left leg slightly to make it into the attack. Very subtle, very tricky, because at this point, the sensation, the feeling that you get is that the opponent is gonna come forward. But because of the right foot, because understanding how to use the right foot, how to move the body, you're understanding that you can hold yourself, you can even go back. So watch it. So here, I let it go too far. Hold on, let me try to. Okay, so look at his body. He puts slight pressure, slight motion forward. This is enough. This is enough to get a reaction a lot of the times. So his opponent decides to come in. He readjusts the distance and does his suriage motion, immediately follow through with the man. So watch it from a different angle. Put the pressure, the opponent reacts, gets the sword out of the way, hits the man. That makes sense? So let's watch a little bit of the motion of the hands. Very important, right? He puts the pressure forward. Look, with the left hand, moves to the left. With the left hand, gets the tip out to the left and returns it into an upward motion for the man. What I mean by this is that, hold on, you're not doing this motion to then go for the man. You want to do the motion and land into the man immediately, right? You don't want to make it two motions, like one and then two. It's going to be one. I hope that makes sense. And please watch the example here. Oh, sorry. You're gonna see it better here, I think. Guys, if you're enjoying this, please hit the like button. Take a second to hit the like button. Push this out to more people out there. Really helps the channel. Maverick, he makes three motion, right? Not really separate, but one beat. He makes three motions. What do you mean three motions? You mean between the body, the legs, and the sword, or what? He makes it into one beat. Yeah, that's correct. Totally, 100%. So, but what do you mean about three motions? In here, he uses the left hand to move the tip out of the way and immediately goes into like a half moon motion into the man. Okay, Maverick, you're breaking down the motions. Thank you. Perfect. So yes, on the first one, I I'm not sure if I want to call it dropping as much as it is because how do I? Let me see if I can. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me get my little shiai here. So I feel really short when I came walking this way from this angle. Anyways, so I need to stand up a little bit on my toes. I guess dropping the tip will be considered more like this. I feel like he's more getting out of the center, you know? So with the left hand, he is moving to the right slightly. And again, one thing that I always try to keep in mind is the center line. Your center line is not as thin like as a thread. I like to think my center line to be as thick as my fist. So in this case, he goes out of the center of that thin line, but he stays within the center of that thicker line, right? Of that fist wide line. So he stays in the center with the left hand, and the tip also stays within that center motion. You don't want to open it up like this, right? Stays within the center. So left hand goes a little bit to the right and brings the tip. This is easier to do with a regular session. Okay, maybe with this spoken. Okay, so from here he push to the left and immediately he flicks with the wrist and the fingers into the path of the man. So let's say that, can you guys hear me well? Because I'm kind of shouting a little bit just to make sure the microphone gets me. But so this is the path of the small man, right? Small man comes in from here, right? Comes here, goes into the man. So the path for Suriage is, without extending your hands first, you first get out of the center. Okay. You first shift your center, and as you extend into the small man, you're returning the sword into the center, and you're trying to make sure that you come into that path of the man. So, right? So it should be after you get out of the center, right? You get out of the center here, you extend the hands, and then you hit the man, right? So it's very important to snap the wrists at this point. So it's almost like you're doing like a you have to snap the wrist. I don't know how to explain that part. But okay, I hope I didn't bore you with so much talk about this. But okay, let me catch up with some of these comments. Okay, let me read yours, Marex, first. First, he drops a shiai. Second, he brings the tip up to hit the middle. And 3, he hits the man. Okay, so I'm not going to say that he brings it down again. I'm going to say he shifts the center. And then he comes into like a, like the moon when it's like, what's the name? Somebody, my English not too good today, I guess. But, like when the moon is like half like this. So you do this motion, and then within this motion, you get the tip into the center for the man. I remember, and I'm probably some people wanna, okay, Shosuro, crescent moon. You do like a crescent moon type of motion. The way that it worked for me, and I'm telling you, I was like, I think 17 when people were explaining this to me, when I was learning about Suriage, Harai, and all this stuff. But the way that it worked for me, I don't know if you ever, there. Okay, I don't know if you guys ever played Street Fighter, but in Street Fighter, how you do the, what's it called, the Hadouken thing from Ryu and Ken, you have to do like a crescent moon motion. This is the feeling that I had when I was doing that. So for me, that was like, my controllers for that. Yeah, I'm a gamer. You can tell. ISO, I'm gonna call you ISO, right? Because like your name's too long. You're on the taller side, so you have to use kote, kaeshi, and suriage men quite a bit. Those small guys are always after your kote. Yes, and that's one of the things. Listen, for me, when I go for a taller person, I always try to challenge the men just because of that. Because I feel that they're so used to getting hit on the kote that it's so hard to get into that kote. So I try to go for the man, and if it doesn't work after a while, I just go for the kote, because then at that point they go like, oh, he's going for my man. This is different, right? So I have to adjust, and then the kote becomes a little bit more available. Doesn't always happen though. So Maverick, you're saying that's it. He rotates the shiai around the center of the shiai. He's not rotating around the center of the handle. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah. I don't. Okay, so he rotates. You're saying that he rotates the shiai around the center of the shiai, not rotating. Okay. Not rotating the center of the handle. So, yeah, not rotating from here. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not understanding. But if you understand it, make sure that if you're doing suriage, it's not this. Sorry. Suriage is not this. With the right hand, and then with the arm to come up to then hit. It's the left hand, and the left hand, sorry, I need to like set on my tippy toes here. Okay. So with the left hand, you rotate, you use your wrist, your fingers, and you rotate and extend. You always want to try to come in. You always try to come in for that motion, right? So the shiai is going to kind of come. It's gonna come in like this, rather than this, right? It could come up. It could come up diagonally as well, though, right? But main point, use your wrist, use your fingers, use your tenouchi, not only for the strike, but also for the motion. So it's literally with my wrist, I do this motion with my right one. My left one is more like, it's more like this, I think. Yeah, like this. So I go like this. And for this one, it's like this. But both hands stay in the center, right? You don't want to come up to the side to do this step of motions. Okay, that was long. I hope you guys enjoy that. Hit the like button if you did. Thank you. And bring some more people in here. I'll appreciate that. Okay. Suriage, it is tough to get the handle on, but it's such a practical waza, so I wish for everybody to pick this up easier. Not necessarily because it's a waza that I would recommend for you to do all the time. It's because you want to understand how to do this motion, because it will open up so many doors to other things. How much karaoke are you guys doing? I enjoy seeing this type of approach where you're fluid and you're active, but you're also doing good impact, good techniques. Very important. Okay, these drills are amazing to do. Most of the times at the dojo, I have people doing it without a partner, because it's hard to find a partner that will move as fast as some people can move, right? So this is something that every day in the Osaka police, you will do around the floor dojo, around the dojo floor. You will do it up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I think it was like about 45 minutes of these drills. And it's such a good drill. It gives you so much fluidity, but you need a good partner to do them. Also, your sensei is a beast at Suriage. He landed a few in his Nanadan test. Oh, nice. Did he test it last week? Did he test it in Vegas? Moving backwards that fast is a bit dangerous too. We had someone fall and they get a mild concussion doing this. Yeah, and you have to have people to understand how to go back, how to fall. It's very, you know, this is a very high intensity drill, so something that, you know, be careful if you're doing this, guys. Oh, ISO, he's been, no, for a little while. No, I'm just asking you because you mentioned the test. Very, very, very good drills, man. Very good. Very good variations as well. So I'm sorry, I don't I cannot read all the kanjis, so I don't know what it says here. I need to. I'll be picking up Japanese soon, guys. So if we have anybody in the chat right now that can translate, it will be amazing. I think. Yeah, I need to sit down and translate these things. One of the biggest things to do continuous attacks like this, if you really want to train hard, try to do as many attacks as possible in one kiai. So I think they're doing a version of Kakarigeko here where he's blocking, right? His partner's blocking as much as possible. And it's very important to... I think it's a very important drill to do where the person is, blocking as well. So you start understanding how to get an opening and, you know, being quick about this. This is very, 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 very good. Very good drill. So 30-second Kakarigeko. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What does it say here now? Now you're the official translator of today's stream, I guess. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. You don't have to type Japanese. You can type English. So I like this video because now it shows his kendo, right? Takanabe's kendo during shiai. And we can see how his training can be applied into practical opportunities. Very, very nice approach. I like the breaking down of the timing of that. So look at, and this is one of the things, guys, why I say you gotta practice your footwork. Look how sharp he uses footwork to try to make an opening by changing the timing. Look. So you see he comes in. Now, granted, this could be very dangerous, so don't copy it like that. So when he comes in here, you see he's using his right foot to change the timing. I'm gonna play it again, but I want you guys to pay attention to this point. He uses the right foot to change the timing, to slow down, to do kind of like a sharp stop, almost like the right hand does to stop the man or to stop the sword where you want it. So the right leg is stopping him where he wants for as much as he wants, but immediately letting go to go forward when he sees the opportunity. So please keep an eye on that footwork that he's gonna do right here. When he's on the right side trying to go to the left, you'll see. right here. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I hope you get inspired by him. Again, every time he takes a step to approach the opponent, he is not fully stopping. He's holding back as he lands the first step. And if he needs to, he keeps going forward. Very good approach. Very good approach for that man. Again, one of the things that I feel Takanabe, it's, it's a star of, is the use of his footwork into his techniques. See how sharp he moves the footwork, and that gives him the stability to move the sword around when he needs to cover. How he relaxes after each move. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Let me... Hold on. So, look how fluidly he moves back and forth. You see, he covers and he relaxes immediately, and he engages his feet to be ready whichever way, right? Obviously, right now with the new Kobe rules, this would have been Hansoku, I think. So you gotta be careful with that. But at this point right here, okay, he makes the distance. He closes in, engages the left leg, and okay, the opponent decides to come in, so immediately he's able to go back. You see, he could have gone, he feel like he was coming in forward, but he saw his opponent, he didn't think it wasn't a good opportunity, he decided to get himself away from that situation. And then in one motion, coming in, again, now we're seeing how he applies into a practical element that motion from right to left, right to left, right to left, right, and then going to attack, right? Again, this is drills that I enjoy, how they separated all these elements in this video, because then you can do the same. You can separate all the elements and then put them together as you keep advancing. So that's always my default on how to pick up new techniques. Break down the technique in all the different elements, practice them individually, and then put them together. Okay, so that was a shower of techniques of hits, right? But one thing that I want you guys to pay attention to as we watch this is how many times a technique was thrown or a strike was thrown, but the sword did not leave the center. Like this. Okay. Oh, that was a Tsuki. Sorry, I went back too far. look. Hit, center, hit, control, center. Center, 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 hit, control, hit. So he did get out a couple times when he was in that blocking mood, right? So normally when we get out of center is when we're blocking. But immediately he retook it. And he was able to take that kote, obviously. So great opening. It was a little bit short, so that wasn't nippon, but great opening. And we saw some of that sword control, some of that shiai control that we saw earlier in the video. Look how he tries to suppress the opponent's shiai and take the center that way as he is approaching. You see, you saw that? Let me see if I can go back just enough. Okay, so look at shiai. He's gonna close in the distance. Now he's gonna close in the distance and suppress the shiai as he approaches his opponent. You see, he does this as he's in motion forward, not in 2 times. He comes in and suppresses. He comes in and suppresses to attack rather than suppressing to then move and attack. Okay? Keep this in mind. Footwork, footwork, footwork. Again, it was short, but great opening, I think. Avi, pre-Keiko mental warm-up. Okay, good stuff, man. Actually, this is the same thing for me. I will be going to practice in about an hour after stream. So, yeah, it's always good to go into Kendo with some ideas as well. You see the continuity of the attack? He doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. Both of them are great Kenshi, by the way. Like I'm not saying that Takanabe, you know, is the only star in this exchange. Let me try to put it a little bit back. But look at that. White is gonna throw a bunch of techniques. Takanabe is going to also do the same, but trying to find the opening, right? He's being a little bit more calm. He sees the opening and he takes it. Very nice, man. Very nice, man. That's one of the things that I was talking to somebody before they went to their test last week in Vegas, that when you do a technique, especially for your test, if you miss it, if your opponent blocks it, if your opponent deflects it, you shouldn't break down. You should look as if you scored it. So if you see this right here, there's nothing different. Nothing different would have been, there would have been nothing different if he would have scored that man. Look at his posture. Look at his follow through. Everything, right? Very important, very important. Another man. Maybe he held back a little bit on the follow through, but Maverick, welcome to the members. Thank you very much for the support. Really appreciate it. Very, very nice, man. And I hope the player doesn't. A great, great man right here. Okay, so pressure, engaging of the left leg, held his position, and the opponent kind of went back, but you see he went back leaning back, right? This makes him into a very weak position for the shinai. It's very little things that you can do at this point to protect yourself. Very little things. He tried to do the kaeshido, but again, he was in that reactive position rather than proactive position, which makes him so much harder to catch up. This is the prime example of what I was talking about earlier, that you want to be the person in motion rather than the person waiting for the attack. So if you see Takanabe is putting the pressure forward, his opponent reacts by leaning back, and now he's fully flat on the ground. And even though he tries to catch up, it's really too late. I guess with that I'm saying is, even if you're trying to do kaeshido, you don't, because that's the moment where people do it the most. Try to do kaeshido by just sitting flat on the ground. You want to have that forward intention even if you're gonna go backwards. Maverick, no man, like, well, you're greatly appreciated, greatly appreciated. Really helps the channel, and everything goes back into making these videos better. So I really appreciate it. And by the way, we'll get together if you want me to like analyze some of your videos and stuff like that. I need to catch up. I have some people that I have in the back burner too, that they send me some stuff, and I'm really sorry, but I'm getting myself organized to do better things for the channel as well. Okay, so right here. So you see he's putting the pressure forward. Of course, there's tension between both of them. So it's kind of like, the tension is fighting between each other. But he is in this backwards mood. And Takanabe, he just continues the forward momentum. It's really hard to see because of the frame rate of the video, the actual strike, but we believe the judgment of the shimpan, right? Let's try to watch frame by frame. You guys can see the point. So it's really hard because you really couldn't see it. You really couldn't see how he came in to hit the man. You really couldn't see it. It was so fast the camera couldn't pick it up. You see, at this point for us, we have to rely on the sound, because if you look at it, the frames between the hit and the bounce, they're not there. You see here, you can see clear opening. He's pretty much on the down path before his opponent can do anything. So from here to the next frame, it's completely missing. You see that? So it's crazy. But it is really, really good example of how you should be the person going in forward, making the opening, putting pressure on the opponent instead of being reactive. If you guys can do this, I think your Kendo level will go exponentially once you pick how to do this throughout your practice. Does that make sense? I don't know if you guys have any questions. What I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna put down on the chat the Discord server if anybody would like to join in. I would be having on the 17th. I want to remind everybody, on the 17th, I will be having a friend of mine that he does Jodan. to come talk to us about what do we need, how should we practice Jordan, how some tips and an understanding better how to do it without creating bad habits. And then I'm setting up another meeting, another stream with another friend who does Nito to do the same thing. Okay, so please stay tuned for that. I hope you guys find a lot of value in this. If you guys need any help, anything that I can help you with, please let me know in the comments. If you pass by the Discord, is the quickest and easiest way. And for the new members that we have, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Maverick, I believe you picked up the Chukan version, so it comes with a little bit of extra benefits, and we can talk about some videos you can send me. We can talk about our Kendo, and yeah, we can get better together. Shosuro, you're looking forward to the interviews. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, and I'm trying to set up more interviews. I'm working on something on somebody that does physical training and Kendo in Japan, and I want to have him here, and I want to see if we can work something together out. If you guys have any suggestion, anything you would like to know to get from this type of content, let me know. And I also want to bring up setting up something as well with another what's it called, Bogu supplier as well, that you will be seeing pretty soon. I'm kind of excited for that. Can't share many details yet, but yeah, anything I can help you guys with, I'm open, I'm available. Let me know how I can help your Kendo. And in the meantime, guys, you have good practices, enjoy your Kendo, and I hope to practice with you guys sometime soon, okay? Thank you very much, guys. I'm gonna end up the stream here today. We'll try to also do some of the live tournaments that are happening. I just need to catch them on time. So if you know about any of them, send them my way through the Discord server or here, and I will be able to do some of those things. Okay, some of those things. Thank you very much, guys. I hope to see you in the next stream, and take care. Have a good rest of your weekend.